What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Lifting Love podcast. You are awesome, and we're back. This is a special episode. If you're watching this means Wednesday, in just 2 days, Wednesday, Hickory FC is going to be playing in the Southeast Conference Championship. Did I get that right?
Tournament.
Semifinals first.
Semifinals first. Southeast Conference Semifinals. Going for the championship, you know. It's the first step in many, right? 2 games for the championship?
Yep.
Correct.
Yep. That was very poetic, by the way.
I try. I try.
I'll tell you what, it is a mouthful when you're saying it for the first time.
I don't think about it until I hear somebody else say it.
It must be an American thing.
Here we go. Okay.
So who better to be with than the people behind the operation of Hickory FC? We got Tom, we got Eric. How you guys doing?
Oh, man, we're so good. Right now, we're so good. We're looking forward to a special week. That's
nervous,
for sure.
though. The nerves, pre-match nerves kicking in.
Yeah, we were talking earlier how it's a little wild. You know, we're year 2, so there's things that we're still figuring out. There's things that we're still getting used to. But to be on the operator side, but also just total Homer fans of the club. You know, you have to plan for what could come next, while you also just need to win the next game.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like the superstition of it as well, right? Like, you know, here's our spot right here. We're in the Champions Club here at LR, and we watch every game from this railing. And it's just like, as a fan, so eager for what's happening on the field, but then having to worry about, what if this happens, and then plan for it with all of our partners. I mean, it's
something we're
kind of a
getting
lot.
used to.
And against the superstition of a player as well. I mean, you know.
You being a former player,
you
that's right.
As
well, I'm a player, just, not as close to being a player as you are.
So let's talk about it. So first off, before we get to where we are, let's talk about the season. How was the season for you guys, in your opinion? Because I know you guys are fans of it, but at the same time, you guys are the operation. So sometimes, like you said, it's hard to take the one hat off and go, but I'm just a fan. I'm just operations. You kind of have to be both. How was the season from your guys' perspective, and what went well, what didn't?
Well, I think to start with, on the pitch, right? Yeah. I think a lot of people don't realise, and obviously we have a lot of fans that are learning about the game still, but what our coaching staff and squad have been able to do is nothing short of outstanding, keeping in mind that these guys that are playing for us right now, they didn't know each other, 3 months ago, and have now come together to create something incredible on the pitch. And hats off to the coaching staff. I mean, Carlos has done an amazing job to put together this squad that not only represents us so well on the pitch, but also in the community as well. Like, it's been outstanding.
Well, we're real fortunate to have. Fortunate, I don't know. I mean, this is part of the plan, 100%. Right? But we are fortunate to
but
have.
It ain't normal. There's
it's not normal. And if you travel around and go to other venues or communicate with other owners that share similar challenges, at some point it starts there. And Coach Rubio and Morales and their staff have done an amazing job of not only recruiting very talented players, but just great human beings that this community has fallen in love with, and and also wildly competitive and want to win for those 5,000-6,000+ fans that show up to give them love on game day.
100%. So what are the things that have worked well in your opinion, and what hasn't worked well, and that you want to maybe improve or work on for next season?
You want me to take that?
Yeah, you take that.
I mean, at the end of the year, we'll do a sort of an end-of-year review, right, to figure out what's worked well, what hasn't worked well. Yeah. We rely on fan feedback. One of the things I find really cool about this business is that, unlike maybe other businesses, you kind of get instant feedback. If you come to the games like we do, if you go to training like we do from time to time, you get instant feedback because, your fans aren't afraid to give you their opinion on things. And I think other than discounting what they say, the goal is to pay attention, to listen, to prioritize those things that will create a better experience, both on the pitch, but also at the event, as a whole. Look, we learn game by game. We had a game where we broke the attendance record, and we didn't have enough staff at the front gate. And so we had a problem at the front gate, but that problem got solved.
Crazy stuff. And I think the other thing that's hard with our business model is it's so short and fast. What everyone sees, it's this 3-month season. Like, you ask about feedback, I'm like, man, we barely have time to think about feedback, and it's just a different sort of model, I guess. And
you actually talked about it earlier. What going to these other places, or you go to a game in a different arena, for a different team that you guys are versing, like, do you notice the difference? Like, obviously from the operation standpoint, you don't really know the numbers, but like, the experience, because when you walk through the gates and you come here, from the minute it starts to the minute it ends, it is just electric. Do you get that in other venues you guys go to?
I think as far as the NPSL goes, I mean, I'm really comfortable saying we're absolutely in the top tier of the experience that we provide our fans. Yeah. But, you know, as we go to other games, it's just an opportunity for us to learn, I think, is how we take it. Whether it's a Charlotte FC game or another NPSL game, like, you know, we go in there, we try to learn. Some other teams do a really wonderful job. But at the same time, look, our fans definitely out-travel, you know, other fans to away games, and that's special at this level or any level at all. So
I saw a piece of content and I was like, wow. I was like, you guys are away, but it kind of looks like a home game, if you ask me.
That's what App State App final last year. I think we set their attendance record, didn't we?
App FC in Boone, the championship, conference championship game last year. I mean, we pushed close to 1,500 fans and helped them. I think we personally broke their attendance record.
Shout
out to our friends at
We love you guys.
A little bit of shade thrown there.
And less about them and more about our fans that traveled for that game into, you know, enemy territory, so to speak, knowing that they might not get a lot of love at that pitch. Like, you know, App FC is going to protect their house.
So they should.
So no, we travel really well. I think we're careful though, also not trying to over compare because we know what we're trying to accomplish. Carlos and the staff knows what they're trying to accomplish, and we've been able to partner with LR, Lenore Ryan, and play on this beautiful pitch at Moret Stadium.
Absolutely
that also
beautiful.
Creates this unreal fan experience, and I do think it trickles down. I believe wholeheartedly that one of the reasons why we are the defending conference championships, we go into this playoff, the semifinal game, top 3 in the country, number 1 in the conference, is partly because of the energy that this team gets from this community and from the fans.
And speaking of community, you guys do a lot in the community. Talk a little bit about all the things you guys do. I know we don't have an hour to talk about the CVS receipt of things you guys do. You know, that receipt that comes out. So just if you guys real quick kind of touch on some of the things that you guys give back in the community for.
Yeah. No, I think just our last home game, right? Like one of my and our biggest passions is obviously the youth and as you said, the community, and we had the opportunity to partner with all the youth teams in the local area and basically pass through all of our ticket sales for the last home game to create a fund for all of the youth clubs that they could really use how they see fit, but ultimately to waive some, you know, player fees and provide financial help to some of these families just so their kids, you know, are able to play at a young, you know, as a young human. So yeah, it's huge, and that's what it's about at the end of the day.
Yeah,
so.
I think the youth aspect too, because when we talked on our podcast, Eric, there's a lot of youth soccer out here, and to get that experience for the fans, you're not only creating a potential maybe player down the line, who knows, you know, with how the talent is around here, but you're also creating a fan for life.
Absolutely.
I think that's a huge part.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the barriers that do exist, like they don't exist in Europe, so it's something that's quite personal to me. Like it shouldn't cost $4,000, you know, to go and be able to play travel soccer. So whatever we can do, you know, to help that, to create maybe the next Messi or the next American Pulisic. Hey, if we can contribute to that, I'm all about it. So that's just one example of something we've done recently.
Well, and there's many examples. There's local donations that we've made to a number of nonprofits. We're going to continue to do that. You know, we did the 828 Strong promotion, which was in response to Hurricane Helene to support the rescue, the recovery, the rebuild.
And those shirts are still getting built too.
We're still getting 828 Strong shirts are still available on the website. 100% of those net proceeds go back to support those efforts. So we will donate another round at the end of the season. We've already done one, a pretty big one, to Samaritan's Purse that we were excited about. You know, thinking also about the promotions that we do for youth sports and youth clubs in Catawba County. What that also does, though, is it creates the next family fan experience, because if you have 2 kids that want to go to a game and their coach said, hey, we have this promotion, go to a Hickory FC game, that's a really inexpensive night out for a family of however many. And I look forward to 10 years from now when there are young adults that come up to us and say, I've got these great memories of going to this game with my family. So it might be the youth promotion, but it then crosses over into the family experience.
Yeah.
I mean, I can remember getting autographs at when I was a little kid going to minor league baseball games.
Yeah.
And waiting for the guys to come out of the locker room and sign my glove or sign a ball or whatever. We have the exact same thing here, and that's grown because of some of the promotions that we've done.
Absolutely. And the guys love it too. The players love it, don't they? They love it. They love signing there.
Well, and keep in mind, some of these players, the biggest fan base they've played in front of sometimes is a couple hundred, right? And so now they come here, they play in front of several thousand. They've got more than a couple hundred waiting for them for autographs after the game. So again, all of that, believe it or not, creates energy on the pitch that puts us in a position to have a season like we've had this year.
Yeah. And if I could, so I was able to come out to a game earlier in the season, and halftime happens, or what was it called? I don't know the terminology.
Halftime.
Okay, just make sure. Hey, I'm awful with the terminology, but they're walking out, and they could have just kept walking. They stopped what they were doing, went over to every fan on their way down to the tunnel, and high-fived them. I was like, that shows just what this community means to the team and what the team means to the community. It was so cool because, like I said, they could have just, all right, halftime, or we're walking out, but they literally stopped and they made sure they high-fived every kid along the way, signing some autographs as during the tunnel. Like, you could see the excitement of the team, and I think the fans are just as excited because, again, that game I came to, from the first minute to the last minute, whether we were up or down, the energy was electric. Anytime that we were in position to potentially score a goal, the crowd was going crazy. Like, it was the craziest experience I might have, in person ever seen.
And it's fun to hear that because to this day, there's still a local executive who happens to be a sponsor came to one of the last games, but he had never been before. I mean, he was supporting the club, and he came up to me and he said, "Man, I had no idea." And that's one of the best compliments that we can get, is that when new people come in here, they chose to come, they chose to buy a ticket, they chose to schedule things out for their family to be here, but then they walk in and it exceeds whatever their expectations were. We're talking about things that promotions, but also things we've done a little bit different this year relative to the event. Mike Johnson Toyota sponsored an amazing kid zone that we have this year. So you see all the kids playing in these inflatables with our interns over there showing some love. That's been, I think, a fantastic addition. Kona Ice is really working with us this year. So you've got their smoothies, their ices that they do here in the stadium. I walk around at halftime and there's a line of 30 lined up for the ices. And so again, most important, there's a game going on the pitch, but just right in line with that is what is that fan experience. And we'll continue to learn, and we'll continue to make some mistakes, and we'll continue to get better.
And then real quick, just a question I genuinely have, is there something next year you guys would, if you guys had no limitation, I know it's going to be a crazy question, no limitation, is there one thing that you guys would bring next year, as crazy as you could think?
I don't know how much we should unveil the whiteboard, but I tell you what, the whiteboard's exciting.
Well, he said one thing. So what's Messi's contract look like?
Yeah. Are you writing that, check?
Well, no, he should be at a point where he's willing to just donate his time. I mean, right? He owes the game a little something back, I think.
Are we past the transfer deadline?
Hey, Lenny asked the question.
Yeah, I know.
So Messi's going to be here next season is exactly what they said it. They said
it's going to be trending.
Hey, look, why not?
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about Wednesday night. You guys, how you guys feeling right now? I know. So one of the things I find so fascinating, we talked a little off camera, is that you guys are fans, right? You're a former player. You played. So it's, how hard is it to turn that switch and get excited as a fan, but then also be like, oh, well, if this happens when we win, we have to do this and that. How does that work, and how excited are you guys for Wednesday night?
Yeah, no, super excited, and I think it's sort of the business end of the season now, right? So obviously we've had an incredible regular season and suddenly set ourselves up for lots of exciting things, but the reality is we play a good team on Wednesday night at home to Port City, who we only played a couple of weeks ago as well, and I mean, it was definitely a decent game, a close game, and now, win, you keep going, and losing, you go home. So the players obviously will be preparing for that. And then the same as we talked about on the business side, we're just trying to be prepared for whatever happens next. I mean, last year we had the home game against Columbus, and I think it's worth mentioning that me and Eric were stood up here, and we could barely focus on the game and what the result was going to be, because we were like, man, we win this thing, and we have to, figure out how we're going to get 30 guys to West Texas. So we talk about what are we trying to prepare. I mean, that's the sort of stuff we're trying to think about. Now, it's a little easier this year.
Winning helps.
Winning helps.
Yeah. Last year, the situation was a little bit different, where after that first round in the Nationals, we're at halftime and we're checking the scores for other teams, and we realize we're going to have to go to West Texas if we win this game. And then immediately you start raising money in your head, because that's a flight. Yeah. That's not a bus. You're going to take a bus to West Texas. That's a flight. Then it's a bus to where we actually have to be. Yeah. Then it's an overnight. But it's part of the game. It's part of the excitement of it all. This year, just to feed off of what Tom was saying, we finished top of the table in the conference. So we have home field conference tournament. So we win Wednesday. We play Saturday at Moretz at 7 o'clock in the conference championship. Moving on, then, we would host another game here. We'd have a bye in the first round. Yeah, because
we're the regional champion as well. The one seed, we're the regional one seed.
On the regional side, we'd be the 1 seed. Yep. So we would get a bye, and then we would play a home game.
Yeah.
And then then things get a little dicier from there.
And from there, it's literally just if somebody in the tournament is a higher seed than you.
And there's only one.
There's only one
where we would then have to potentially travel.
And where is that?
So technically, El Farolito, right? They are the number 1 seed.
It's a San Francisco-based team.
Yeah, they're out of California. However, they.
Well, wait. There's more. There's more to the story.
We want them to lose.
So what's actually happening is that they have to travel as a West Coast champion. They have, I don't want to say an easier route into the national tournament, because that's not right. There's a lot of good teams out west, but they just had a different route with less games that they had to win in order to get there. So they do have to travel. So no matter what, El Farolito, shout out to them, by the way, obviously last year's national champion, what wonderful organization and team, have to travel for the Final Four. Then Virginia Dream finished second, and that's for us, if both us and Virginia Dream continue to win, we would have to travel to Virginia for the national semifinal.
Which is definitely a lot easier.
That's doable.
Potentially. Yeah.
That's doable.
Yeah. San Fran would be cool, but definitely.
And look, we would figure it out. But this is something that most fans probably don't realize, and it's okay because it's not their problem. But lower league, semi-pro, sports in general, but especially this sport, that's a tough thing from a business perspective for teams to, your success actually costs you more money. And so it's a strange thing to wrap your head around. That said, we knew that going into this, and so there's no surprises, but this is also why finishing top 3 in the country and number 1 in the conference is a really, really good thing.
Because at least for the next couple games, you have a little bit of peace. You can kind of a little bit more. Obviously, you're still going to be on your feet, like, oh, are we winning? Are we this?
For sure.
But it's a lot easier than being like, dang, we gotta. We're going to Virginia. We're going to New England. We got to plan these things. So
for sure.
From a fans, now I just want you to take the owner hat off, and I just want you guys to be a fan. Oh. How excited are you guys for this week?
Do you have a bleeper?
That's right. He is English.
No, I mean, it's freaking exciting. I mean, to be where we are as a fan and to watch what's happened this season, I mean, I'm fucking pumped. I mean, it's just the reality. It's fun. All of our the ownership and all of our families watching us all be fans on a Saturday night, and the guys and the coaches' families and this community. I mean, I just don't know what else I would do at this point on a Saturday night. And the season's so quick that it sucks. I wish it was longer. You know what I mean? As a fan.
I don't know if you remember this, Tom, but early last season. So Tom and I are always standing on, nobody can see it, but there's rails that way. We're always standing on those rails and gripping them tight. We should have some handprints on those rails from standing there. But there's a game last year where our head of operations, Jonathan Rink, who is the
shout out
to John. I mean, he is the shining light behind all of this, just the madness that's happening. He's the one that's taking care of it. Yeah. But he came up to us last year and kind of put his hand on our shoulders and said, I need y'all to remember that you're owners. So as loud as you're yelling about certain things, just you might want to tone it down just a bit. And it was that moment where, as a fan, there might be people we direct our yelling towards that we're not going to do as an owner. We have to be a little bit careful.
It's not the referees, MPSL.
Oh, I wasn't going to name anybody. You know, you're giving names, but no, I mean, man. I mean, look, talk about a Robo fan. My closet is like nothing but Hickory FC gear now, and if we had nothing to do with the ownership, there's a part of me that thinks I'd be wearing just as much.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So I know you have to go. Last 2 questions for you guys.
Yeah.
You guys are in year 2. It's kind of crazy to think the way you guys are talking, the way it's structured, the way the fans show up. You would think this has been here for 10 years by now. You guys are in your 2nd season. How does that feel? Like I know when we talked on our podcast, it was the beginning was kind of you didn't really know what was going to happen. You didn't know if you were going to be accepted by the community. You guys went above and beyond that. You guys were like the community. Like, that is Hickory FC.
Yeah.
Like, I can't tell you how many stickers I see, how many people are wearing shirts, hats. I see it all over. So how does it feel from an ownership perspective to be embraced by the community so heavily?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's incredible. And all we're going to do, I mean, you don't know Eric and I super well, but all we're going to continue to do is try to get better and continue to build something special. That's the same as the rest of the guys and the rest of the ownership group as well. But no, it's really exciting. And because of this year, and like you say, it's only year 2, but the doors potentially start to open for other things, you know, in year 3, 4, and 5. I mean, I want to touch on the US Open Cup. We're not qualified for it by any means, but because of the regular season that we've had on the pitch, I mean, the door potentially could be open. And for the football fans out there, the US Open Cup is comparable to the FA Cup in England, which is a national knockout competition where you get the David v Goliath matchups, the Sharks v the Minnows, and the Minnows beating the Sharks, and the David beating the Goliaths. You know what I mean?
This is the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is, if we did end up qualifying for the US Open Cup, which again we don't know yet. There's a lot of different stuff that has to happen, but again, we've done a good job of putting ourselves in the position where it could happen. I mean, Charlotte FC theoretically could end up coming to Hickory, or we could end up going to.
Wait, did you hear what he just said?
Did
you hear what he just said?
Can you
Should I
explain
say
I just want to
that
make sure everybody heard what Tom just said. Theoretically, a team like Hickory FC could play Charlotte FC.
But like, okay, so like how?
Well, it's a national competition, right? So you have all professional teams from the top tier down to the 4th, 5th tier, and it's just a national knockout competition. Of course, we'd have to work our way through, 2, 3 rounds before that could happen. But it is an opportunity where, every team in the country has an opportunity to qualify, and each league gets a certain number of spots, and then those dream matchups can happen. I mean, El Farolito, for example, actually made it to the 3rd round last year and got to play some.
But how do you so you say you're not qualified yet, but how do you qualify?
So the regional champions in the NPSL qualify, and there's 4 regional champions. And then beyond that, it's dependent upon the regular season rankings, but the NPSL gets assigned a different number of spots every year. So on paper, it for sure looks good, Lenny, but again, until everything is organized from a US soccer level and until each league is assigned its spots, I mean, we don't know for sure.
We've done what we
can.
Yeah, we've put ourselves in a great position. It would be a really, really special thing. Our players are already asking about it. They were asking me after the last game where I felt like we sat. And look, here's what we'll promise. If that happens, we'll come back and we'll do an episode on that tournament specifically.
Oh, get the exclusive.
And then I just want to reiterate, because I don't want Carlos to see this and give me a phone call and say, dude, one game at a time right now.
100%.
We're all focused on Port City. So, Carlos.
So we'll set the table one more time.
Yeah.
Regular season champions, done.
Hold on.
Okay.
Conference champions.
Oh, actually, hold on. I have a button here. Oh, there's an applause button. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
I found that out.
So regular season champions.
Hold on. Go ahead.
Regular season champions, done. Okay. Defending conference tournament champions.
2024.
2024.
Go ahead.
That's right. And now entering the conference playoffs, hosting as the number 1 seed, top of the table. So Wednesday night, 7 o'clock here at Moretz. Let's get out. Let's set the record for attendance again. Rain or shine, if there's crazy lightning, then we'll do a post. But if it's raining, show up, show out, and support our club. If we win that game, then we move on to the championship game on Saturday night here at Moret. So again, 7 o'clock. Show up.
I mean, he loves this stuff, doesn't he? I mean, he's just taking off.
He's like so natural.
But the only thing that would be better is if I was young enough and good enough to actually play on this team. That's
the only way it could get better.
I think your next level, you need to take off your top and just start swinging it on.
I'm going to have Hickory FC painted on my... if I was a player, though, I think pretty quick I'd be red carded a few times and I'd have to sit on the sidelines.
Red carded? Yeah, you kicked out of the game.
I'd be done.
Yeah.
A little too aggro.
Yeah.
And then absolute last thing, one more time for the fans. Hickory FC, what's the end goal? I know you guys are thinking conference championship, but now I need you to put that business owner hat back on. What is the big picture of Hickory FC?
Do you want me to?
I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, like I said, the whiteboard is very, very exciting. We have
Messy
to take,
next season.
Messy next season. we just have to take it one step at a time. And look, there are lots of exciting things going on in the background, but there's also a lot of things that need to trigger for those to happen for sure. But one game at a time, one thing at a time. But you should be excited, people.
Well, and in addition, and I wish I would have been like this when I was younger. Going into any business, in my opinion, when you set something up, you should 100% have short-term goals and exceed the expectations as best as you can in the short term. But you should also think about what is the biggest, craziest thing that could happen? Like what if you, to your point, if you had a dream, where could it go? I don't know that we've dreamt that big. But the truth is, that is our mindset. Why stop? Why not us? Why not down the road or now? Whatever the question is. The other thing is, U.S. soccer, I think, is going to go through a change in the next couple of years. I think that things are evolving, and that could open up opportunity for us. One other thing I will say, and again, the game is most important. Wednesday, get out. Let's go win that game. I'm not going to say what it is, but we've got a pretty cool thing that's going to pop next year that I think the fans will be super stoked about, and that's all I can say.
Secrets. You have to be a part of the Hickory FC journey to find out what he's talking about, because I don't even know. I don't even know. But you'll see one day. Wednesday night, come on out. 7 o'clock?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, Moret Stadium. You guys are playing who again?
Port City. Gates open at 6.
Gates open at 6. Come out for a great time, not only to support, but to come out and see some amazing soccer. So if you haven't, check out Hickory FC. The links will be in the description below. Get your tickets. We'll see you Wednesday. Thank you guys so much.
Hey,
appreciate your time.
Thank you, man. You're the best.
Yeah. Oh, I try. Until next time, guys, hit that subscribe button. Lift love, crush hate. We out.